almost gone, replaced by the kind of jaw that could take a serious punch. He felt like his skin had been stretched over someone else's face, a guy who was older, better looking, and bigger, because he was definitely bigger. He tried to stand up straight, but he'd been slouching for so long that his body almost couldn't remember how. He'd grown at least an inch in about 2 hours. Was that even possible? Link wasn't sure, but he knew that when he tried to fall asleep last night, he had felt his bones cracking and groaning, like they were literally stretching under his skin. And his skin tingled, his nerve endings more sensitive than when he'd skinned his knees breakdancing on the blacktop. Then there was his arm, the pain that seemed to disappear overnight. Link was looking good today, roadkill, puke, and all. The extra height was worth a little bone stretching, or whatever was happening, especially since he wasn't just getting taller. He felt like he was getting stronger, too. He glanced at the door, then flexed his biceps in the mirror. Yeah, he had some hardcore guns. "Don't make me fire these puppies," he said to his image in the mirror. It was sort of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He felt like himself. He still rocked out to Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. He still couldn't stop thinking about Ridley and becoming a famous drummer. But the body he was in didn't feel like his body. It felt borrowed or stolen, crazy as that sounded. Link splashed some water on his face with one hand. He was going to give Power Ballads another shot. He grabbed his iPod and flopped down onto his bed. When his back hit the mattress, he heard the sharp crack of wood splintering underneath him, and half his bed crashed to the floor. His heart sped up, but he cranked Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, listening to the words he'd heard 100 times before, hoping they would drown out his mom's voice hollering from downstairs. The pee was warm and yellow and, well, it was pee. A few hours later, Link was staring into the specimen container as if it could explain everything. He was pretty sure it couldn't, but at least he hoped it would get his mom off his back. She was convinced his sudden physical changes were the result of steroids. Link shook his head. "Kinda like Mountain Dew in the morning, after you let it sit by your bed all night long." Since he didn't know what to make of his new physique any more than the rest of the stuff that was happening to him, Link gave up and screwed the lid on the container. He wrote his name on the sticker right where the nurse, Wanda Beezer, told him to. He still hadn't seen Doc Asher, but Link knew why he was there. His mom had made that clear, and it had nothing to do with the sling on his arm. There was no way in HE double hockey sticks you could ditch out on his mom's cooking and puke 2 minutes later without ending up in the doctor's office. Not unless you had a doctor's note excusing you from eating in the first place. If only she hadn't served the white gravy. Anything but that. Maybe he could have choked down pancakes. He shuddered at the thought and the smell. Maybe not. What was wrong with him? He'd been trying to convince his mom he was fine, but he hadn't been able to convince himself. Maybe she was right. Not about the drugs, but maybe about the devil. He didn't know what was going on in his head or his body, but none of it was normal. Not that the things going on in Link's head were all that normal to begin with. Still, this was abnormally abnormal. "Are you taking drugs, Wesley?" his mom had demanded after she charged into his room right before lunch. "Getting yourself all hopped up on the marijuana?" The way she said it, you'd think she was proposing to someone. Marijuana? Link didn't wanna. He didn't want anything.